So last week there was a huge news in regards to the ban on application from Indian students for Australia. And the way the news was reported obviously caused a huge stir among Indian students, especially those who are overseas. But there has been more latest updates that have come through after that news broke out last week. So in this video we'll talk about first of all that news update that came last week and also the latest updates after that news broke out, especially from the universities themselves. And last but not the least, I'll give my take on this whole saga. So without wasting any minute, let's discuss about these things. So first thing first, what was the update? So last week, The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald reported that some Australian universities have put a ban or restrictions on applications from Indian students. This was done specifically because of the concerns regarding bogus or fraudulent applications from the students. And as you can imagine, this was obviously a huge news for students coming in from India, as Indian students make the second largest group of international students here in Australia. Now, as per that report from The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald, there were some universities who actually took this action. And the names of the universities mentioned in that report were Victoria University, University of Wollongong, Addis County University, Torrens University, and Southern Cross University. Now, that report also mentioned that they were not only placing the ban on the whole country, but rather some specific states or regions in the country itself. So those specific states mentioned in that report were Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, and Rajasthan. And the main concerns that were mentioned in that specific report were because of either incomplete applications from the students from these specific regions or bogus documents or fraudulent documents that they were attaching with the application. So that was kind of a summary of the whole report that was published last week on The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald. Obviously, there's a lot more information in that investigation that they have published. These were some of the key takeaways from that report. We will put the link of the whole report for you to read yourself as well in the description box below. Please feel free to do that after watching the video. There is another update that has came after that news broke out. So over the last few days, there has been another report that has came from SBS Hindi. They reported that 4 out of the 5 universities mentioned in the previous report actually denies the claim that they're banning Indian students for the applications. That was specifically after Indian High Commission did an investigation into this report. The 4 out of the 5 universities actually mentioned that they are conducting additional checks in order to make sure that the applications coming from South Asia itself, that includes India, are genuine applications. It obviously means that universities have concerns in regards to the fraudulent applications, and universities are obviously required to issue their COEs only to the genuine students anyways. Otherwise, they obviously risk their own reputation with the Department of Home Affairs. So universities are obviously conducting additional checks from students coming from South Asia. But that does not mean that they are banning Indian students or applications from Indian students. And the 4 universities have clearly mentioned that in their latest report from SBS Hindi. The only university that couldn't respond before they published the report was Torrens University. All universities have mentioned that they don't have bans on Indian student applications. However, there is only one exception to that, and that is ECU University, that actually had a temporary pause in the month of January for the undergraduate students who are coming from Punjab and Haryana. The university accepted that there was a temporary pause only for the undergraduate students, for students coming from those 2 states. And there was no such pause for the postgraduate students who were putting their applications from any part of India. But as I mentioned earlier, most of the universities have said that they don't have any such bans on applications from Indian students. So hopefully that gives a bit of relief for the students who are genuinely trying and putting their applications for studying here in Australia. So my take on this whole news update is it's quite incorrect to say that Australian universities have started banning Indian students. The way the whole thing was actually reported make people felt that as if the whole Indian student community was banned for applying for Australian university. And as you can imagine, most of the people actually pay attention only to the headlines and they don't pay attention to what's written inside these reports as well. So in my opinion, that was reported quite in an absurd way. My only message to the students who are applying for the Australian universities, whether for these universities or for any other university here in Australia, that if you are genuinely trying to come here for your studies here, then you shouldn't be worrying too much about these sort of news. Obviously, it raises concerns when you see these sort of news coming in the media outlets, but if you have genuine intention to study and you have no fraudulent documents or fraudulent information, then you shouldn't be worrying at all. Obviously, if you are someone who's trying to dodge the system or trying to submit fraudulent applications or incorrect applications or incorrect information, then you should definitely be worried, as more likely than not you will get caught with your fraudulent applications. So hopefully this video helps to clear up some of the information that confused many students in the past week or so. Please let us know your thoughts about this news update in the comment section below as well. Would love to hear your thoughts. All the articles mentioned in this video will be in the description box below as well. If you want to read further information, please feel free to do so after watching this video. And if you find any value in this video, you know the drill by now. Please like, share and subscribe. As always, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.